Hello there, my name is Martin Henley. This is the Effective Marketing Content Extravaganza. And if you're new here, you won't yet know that I'm on a mission to give you everything you need to be successful in your business, providing, of course, what you need to be successful in your business is to know more about and be implementing more enthusiastically sales and marketing in your business. So I'm here giving you everything I know about sales and marketing through the What the series. We bring you the marketing news every other week and we speculate wildly about what that might mean for you in your marketing lives. I am reviewing the very best and the very worst of marketing content on the internet, and whenever I can, I bring in anyone I can find with experience that will help you to be more successful in your business. That's what today is about. Today is Talk Marketing. So if that sounds like it should be, and it should be interesting and useful, if you're looking to grow your business, then please take a second to like, share, subscribe, comment, get involved, because that's the motivation we need to keep us on this epic mission. So today is Talk Marketing, so we have a guest. And today's guest has sales and marketing experience going all the way back to 2009 when she was selling classified advertising space on the phone. We have something in common. She has a first-class degree from Coventry University in advertising and media. I never got a first-class degree. There was another media sales role before she worked her way up through two digital ad agencies. That's Periscopix and Croud. She is currently co-founder at House of Performance, who help ambitious brands by identifying opportunity and revolutionizing performance. What you may not know about her is that she is an intermediate level pole dancer. She was introduced to us by the quite wonderful Abigail Dixon. Today's guest is Kat Sale. And I'm sorry, Kat, I didn't actually ask if it was okay to call you Kat. Is that cool? Are we friends?
Yeah, we're now friends. That's perfectly fine. Thank you.
Excellent. Fantastic. Well,
Great intro.
thank you very much. I quite enjoy doing those intros now. I quite enjoy writing them and putting them together. And people are quite enjoying them. So I think that's cool. Thank you so much for being here. It's taken us a little while to get this together. But we have got it together, so thank you so much for your time. It seems like you are quite busy in the performance marketing space. But before we talk about that, we should probably talk about what qualifies you. How do you know you're an intermediate pole dancer? What do you have to be able to do to be intermediate at pole dancing?
So I've been doing it just over 3 years, and to reach intermediate level, you have to be able to do something called an aerial invert. So basically, an invert is where you can swing yourself upside down from the ground, and then you're hanging upside down on the pole. An aerial invert is climbing up the pole and then going upside down, which is much harder. So I've pretty much been working on that all year and finally made it recently. So now I'm
Okay,
technically an intermediate level.
fantastic. Well done you. Do you have like a pole in your home, or do you have to go somewhere where there is a pole? How does it work?
So I go to classes. I definitely would never get anywhere without going to classes. But I do have one at home to practice as well. Yeah, just got to get
Okay.
on it as much as possible, basically, to get any progress.
Good, because pole dancing has become much more accessible, hasn't it, in recent years? Like there was one time you had to be a
Mm.
professional pole dancer to have access to a pole dance, but now lots of people are doing it.
Lots of people doing it. It's much more mainstream. My husband always jokes that, men won the war on feminism when pole dancing was invented as a fitness activity. But I actually don't see it that way at all. I just see it as really empowering, fun way to keep fit.
Yes,
And it's a great way to unwind. I love it.
excellent. I like the sound of your husband. I think because Mickey Finnegan said to him, the War of the Sexes was a little bit like England at the 2010 World Cup, that men didn't really turn up. So I like this idea that we might have
Mm.
actually ended up with something completely by accident. That would be perfect.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Okay, cool. Well, the truth is, we're not actually here to talk about pole dancing. We're here to talk about your specialist subjects. And your specialist subject is performance marketing. So you know about the 5 questions. You've had the 5 questions in advance. We'll remind everyone. What we're interested to know is how you're qualified to talk to us about performance marketing. We're interested to know who you work with and how you add value to their lives, your recommendation for people who are looking to get better at performance marketing, what people should read, and I'll need you to throw two people under the bus who might be interested, who might enjoy or maybe just endure to have a conversation like this with me. So before we do all of that, we should probably explain to people what performance marketing is. And more importantly for me, we should think about why all marketing isn't performance marketing. What sort of marketing that gets away without performing?
What a question. So to me, performance marketing is any marketing that can be directly managed and measured, usually online. It's pretty much all. I mean, everything's online now anyway, isn't it? So in my mind, performance marketing is something that can be activated in a platform, money can be spent on it, and it can be measured very, very quickly, like maybe within even in the same day. So that would be things like PPC, paid social, really. And I would say there's a wide, and email, I guess, as well, email marketing. There's a wider kind of remit to performance marketing with things like SEO, but I would say that's a much more longer game play. You can't implement something in SEO now and expect it to work tomorrow, not that often. So it's what I love is that kind of marketing that you can really measure and change things on in the moment almost, or certainly within 24 hours. Yeah.
Yes. So this is interesting. This has all been afforded by digital, hasn't it? So before digital, it was largely
Yeah.
guesswork. Like there was a guy said
Yes.
100, 200 years ago, I know 50% of my advertising is effective. I don't know which 50%. So this is
Mhm.
actually
Mhm.
the revolution that has powered digital marketing. Now, I teach digital marketing, and what that affords me the opportunity to do is to paint people a beautiful picture that really doesn't bear much relation to the truth of digital marketing. And what I tell people is it should be like driving a car. Like you have all the instrumentation in front of you, you can take all of the actions, it should be like driving a car. But is it quite like driving a car? I mean, we're talking about you're talking about ads, PPC and social
Yep.
ads.
Yeah.
So is it like driving a car?
No, because you can get an instruction manual. You can follow the instructions and it can completely, blast things out of the park or not go to expectations at all. And it's completely different for every business and every platform and every moment almost. So, no, it's not exactly like driving a car. No. You
Okay.
don't know what the weather's going to be like, for example. Things come in and
Right.
change it.
Okay. Okay, good. All right, so we're getting carried away with the conversation I want to have, but we don't yet know if you're qualified to talk to us about this thing. So that's the first thing we need to establish. How are you qualified to talk to us about performance marketing?
Well, I've worked in it for 12 years. I've built a business that specializes in it specifically. And what we do is we help clients navigate that journey in the car, if you like. So we help clients improve whatever they're doing in performance marketing and build on it and learn more about it. Um, when I was preparing my answers, I was thinking a lot about TikTok because TikTok's becoming a major platform for us and many people. And I then got to the answer of qualified's a really funny word because lots of platforms, including TikTok, are so new and changing all the time that being qualified in it, you could take the exams. Does that mean you're qualified? No. Have you done it for a long time with lots of different clients and learned lots of different things and helped them achieve results? Yes, that means you're qualified. So would I put myself as qualified? Yes, I think so. But I'm open to always learning on it, definitely, and everyone should be.
Okay, so I think like you might be intermediate qualified if you can do the equivalent of an inverted upside down whatever it is you're doing on your pole. If you could do that, I think you'd be qualified. I think. What do I think? I think that yeah, doing it successfully for customers is the qualification that I'm interested in. The problem is I've got issues with these platforms. Like I really have.
Mm,
Like it feels to me like they're not particularly. Let's say what I really think. They don't care about delivering value for their customers at all.
yeah.
And for me, like we can see that the proof is right now. There's a recession coming, and they're all busy laying people off. I don't know what TikTok are doing. Probably not laying people off. But if they were delivering value for their customers, advertisers, then they should be leading us out of this recession. Do you know what I mean? They should be, yeah. So that's how I feel about it. How do you feel about it?
Um, I well, yeah, no, these platforms do not care about your performance, really. They care about making money, of course, and they're designed to make money. But Google has led the way, and I do think that the others are following suit by making it so strong performance is accessible. It's not impossible. So if you can achieve strong performance, you will spend more. So it's win-win, right? So that's a really wishy-washy answer. My answer is no, they don't care at all. Yes, they're making lots of staff cuts to stay afloat in theory or to become more profitable, whatever. Fine. But they obviously do care about their advertisers in terms of that's how they will stay afloat. So I think that more and more the platforms are spending time and money making things easier for customers to spend. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that at all. I think that they should, that they've always, like, they've always driven this like performance angle, I suppose. I've only come across this performance idea in the last 3, 4, 5 months. I think you obviously came across it before that because you've been running your house of performance business for the last 2 years or whatever. What's the point of that? The point of
Mm.
that is, I wish that they would just deliver value, because then it would be, the world would be a much better place. Like people would be much more successful. They would, you're right, retain their customers much longer, and small businesses, which is what I'm interested in, would have the opportunity to be much more successful. I think agencies like yours need to exist because Google is in the business. Google, Facebook, all of them are in the business of fleecing small businesses. And it reminds me a little bit of the restaurant business, where the average lifespan of a restaurant business is 6 months. So the whole industry is geared up basically just to extract as much money from these startup restaurants as they possibly can in the first 6 months, because they're not going to be around much longer than that. That's how I feel about it. Um, you need to be careful. I'm just a bag of issues. That's the problem. But you've got a very serious face on.
I don't. I agree that they're there. Obviously, their platforms are there to make as much money as possible. 100%, obviously. But
Yes.
what I would say is Google and now the others have paved the way for very small businesses to reach a larger audience than ever possible. Like TikTok's a really good example. I was watching some lives at the weekend where people are selling stuff. It's kind of like an online boot sale almost, a marketplace. And they're all over the world, and they can that, they can reach an audience anywhere in the world that potentially could buy from them. That is incredible. In what world could you get that without these platforms? So I just think that yes, they're there to make money, obviously. Yes, they could make it cheaper. Google in particular, obviously, could do a lot, and they don't. They do the opposite. They increase their cost per clicks all the time. But I do think that they've created a platform that allows, like, even you take a restaurant can do a very targeted small campaign in the local area. So anybody in the area searches restaurant near me, they can actually be number one, which is incredible. Without that, they'd be doing yellow pages, nowhere near as effective, or a TV
Yes.
ad, don't have the budget for it.
Yes. I'm 100% with you. I mean, the thing is, and I think the thing is, I don't do it anymore. So I don't have to worry about it. Do you know what I mean? But if I did have to do it, I'd be worried because I've done it with enough clients to know that your budget could be gone
Mm.
in a second. Like if you give Google the opportunity, they will take your money. But it's ridiculous things
Yeah. Yes.
like yes. So ridiculous things like what am I thinking? Ridiculous things like the whole like PPC. Let's take PPC. Google PPC for instance is based on like a bid, but they are suggesting the bids and they're collecting the money. So clearly that's not going to be fair for the bidder. Um, and then other things like for years, like always, like a KPI for me was where you're actually ranking, like where your ad is being shown. And then they just took it away like 2 or 3 years ago. So you're paying to be in a position, you don't even get to know anymore what position you're in. So these are the things. I think if it were as transparent, like, and I started this in 2006 when it was like turning on a tap, like you would run ads, your phones would start ringing. It was insane. And I've seen
Mm.
it get progressively worse
Mhm.
in that
Mhm.
time. So maybe I am a little bit disaffected like that. Um, and I think I've got the biggest mosquito in the world in here, which is a bit annoying.
That's unfortunate timing.
It's unfortunate. I think Google sent it. So I've seen it get progressively worse. Um, that's what I think. I've seen it get progressively worse. So the idea now of advertising, actually, I don't like it. I wouldn't recommend that to any ever to a client. And obviously it works, but you have to be religiously fanatical, I think, to get it work. And that's the sense that I get from you, is that you are driven by. And this is what I tell people: if you're going to do PPC, you have to be prepared to put in the hard yards, because if you're not, Google will clean you out.
Yes. 100%. Yeah. So we get brought in when clients have that uneasy lack of trust feeling that you've got, and when they're spending, doesn't have to be significant amounts of money, but a sizable portion of marketing budget, and they don't know or trust in what they're
Yeah,
doing,
wait, dude.
or
Say hello
hello.
to Kat. Hello. She's all the way in England, dude. This is
Hi.
Devon. Okay, but you know what? This is why
Cute.
Yusuf is here looking after you. Okay, so you're going to have to go back downstairs. Okay, that way, dude. Yeah, you can take the punch
Bye.
plate. That way, dude. Uh, I don't know. I'll bring them down to you when I'm done. Is that okay? All right. Thank you, dude.
Bye.
Sorry about that.
Aren't we
My
lucky?
landlady's little
Like
boy.
3, 4 years ago. Oh, cute. I was going to say 3 or 4 years ago that just wouldn't have been a done thing, would it? But now
Yeah,
it's
who cares?
it's fine.
Yeah, we'll cut that little
Thank
bit
God.
out. It's fine. Okay, cool. So where
What were
were
we
we?
talking about? So we were talking. Sorry.
Google
Yeah, I
will
was just
clean
going
you
to
out
talk
is the last thing I
about.
said.
Yeah, and then I was talking about we get brought in when businesses need to understand more about what they're doing in performance marketing and make efficiencies. So, like for example, we just did a really big project with a holiday park company in the UK, and they brought us in to look at how much they've spent on Facebook and Google basically this year, and whether it was the right choices, sensible, did they spend things on the right keywords, the right targeting, and what should they do in 2023. So they already had an agency running it, but they brought us in for like an impartial view to basically see whether they make a lot of improvements. And they can. We found that something like 49% of their spend was wasted this year, um, and it could have been put to better use. And that is because the intricacies of managing campaigns are so detailed and easy to get wrong. You could put a keyword in and think it means one thing, but then of course once you start looking at what people are searching, it could mean something else. And holidays is a really interesting one because people look for all sorts of things, right? Um, so no, I wouldn't say it's accessible to everyone to run in terms of anyone can do it like driving a car. But what I would say is if you work hard at it, anyone can get good performance if they work really hard and have a dedicated, qualified team.
Yeah, that's what I think 100% as well. Is you have to be prepared to put in the hard yards because you have to drive the value really hard because the value isn't obvious or immediately accessible. It definitely isn't. And this is the thing about the qualifications.
Yeah.
So you say you can set the exams, but all you're doing then is taking a certificate in how to extract money from your clients and give it to Google. That's what those exams are about. And the other thing I want to say is, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's not just about the vagary of a keyword. I think Google makes it hard. Like, if you phone Google and you say, I'd like my ads to be doing better, they will just tell you to up your budget, up the number of keywords, up the geographies, up the
Yeah.
whatever. And my
Yeah.
experience is exactly the opposite. It's true. Fewer keywords, fewer landing pages, higher conversions is true. So I thought I would market this podcast. I thought I'll just do some PPC, get some YouTube views. No,
Mm,
it's not easy to do that. It's really not
no.
easy to do that. And I'll tell you how hard it
No.
is. The
No.
people, the people who are employed by Google and sit in offices that look like they are fishing offices in India don't know how to do it either because I've spoken to them. They've got no clue.
Yeah. We don't really use Google. We only use Google Support if like client's account is down or disapproved or something and we can't figure it out ourselves.
Yes,
Otherwise, we wouldn't really rely on them. Same for all the platforms, to be honest.
yes.
Yeah.
But Google, 100%, those people are being paid commissions. Their motivation is to get you to spend more money, not be more
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But we say, of course,
Mm.
but aren't these the platforms that have been telling us for 15 years, like, give value to your clients, like, be wonderful to your customers, be wonderful to your staff, all of this stuff? And they're not really, are they?
I mean, I can't comment on that really. I don't work for them.
No.
I
No,
wouldn't
no,
work
no,
them
no.
for them for a reason. I just want to
Yes,
use their
yes, yes.
platforms to get the best out of them. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
100%.
yeah, I could have worked at Google or Facebook, obviously, but no, not for me.
No, not for me either, I don't think. What's the thing that I wanted to say about it? I mean, I am pushing you because you're allowing me to talk about this thing. I want to talk about this all the time, but normally people who do this are like, they don't
Mind?
want to have the conversation. So, in conclusion, what was the other thing that I wanted to say? I wanted to say that, in conclusion, oh no, the other thing I want to say is about this performance marketing. So, what on earth, who on earth is spending money on marketing in 2022 that isn't performing? I don't understand. I don't understand that kind of logic.
Yeah, so many people. I think the problem is because every business has different nuances, every website, every campaign that is built, it's performance can vary so much, and people that work in marketing are very good at spinning a story, right? So it's quite, it's quite easy to have some performance numbers and then find reasons or excuses for it. Oh, the platform changed this, or yeah, it was really bad last week. These are the reasons. And we come across clients every day that have wasted budget, definitely. Um, you know, Probably underpinned by the industry's got a real problem with agency contracts being built on a percent of spend model. So,
Okay.
clients will pay the agent, they will have their marketing budget, and then the agency fee will be on top of that, but the fee will be driven by the budget because it's a percent of what they've spent. And that's quite I would say that's an old school traditional way of budgeting and working with your agency, but it's still really common. So, of course, the agency's motivated to get you to spend more because they're going to get more fees, right?
Yeah.
And they might even get a kickback from some of these platforms like Google or Facebook because those still exist as well. So it's win-win for the agency and platform and lose-lose for the client, because it's the motivation is about spend, not about efficiency and performance. So we just would never entertain a percent of spend contract. And all clients need to really look at what they're contracted to with their agencies and think about, is if it is like that, change it 100%. Put them on a performance model. So if they hit your ROAS, they get a bonus. Perfect.
Yes, perfect. Okay, that is the last thing that I wanted to say before. It feels like we're segueing into who you do business with, what you do. But our
Yeah.
proposition always, if it was PPC, was we will halve your spend and double your return. And we never missed. It's really easy to look at, or it was really easy to look at a campaign and just say, look, all of this is just completely wasted. Just stop all of that. It's
Yeah.
never done anything for you. It will never do anything for you. Stop that. Put it into this fraction of it that is
Yeah.
working. So we never miss like that. Okay, good. So, and I think, because I'm remembering now some of the emails that we've exchanged over the months, and we did say we were going to talk about TikTok advertising, but that's cool. We can talk about that as
Yeah.
well, I think. But I'm just interested in this idea of performance marketing. Here's my thing, which kind of leads us into the thing, is people don't know what marketing is. This is why I'm on this mission, to let people know what it is and how they should be doing it properly, and that this is the only way to be successful in your business. Um, but then when they go out, the penny drops and they go out into the market, they also get fleeced. Like, it feels like a lot
Mm.
of the marketing industry is only is maybe they've taken their lead from these platforms, but also not interested in delivering value necessarily. It feels like they don't have the first clue how to do what it is that these businesses need them to do, which is not even leads but sales, and not even sales but profitable sales. So that leads us into, then, obviously
Mm.
you're not one of those agencies. Who do you work with? How do you add value to their lives? That's the question.
Yeah. So we don't have a specific industry or vertical that we work with. We work with any business that wants to improve on their performance marketing. So, the specialism is PPC and paid social. The business type could be any. So we've done work with like insurance websites. Um, we're currently working with an online florist. We've worked with like supplement health brands. It's a real mixed bag. We're doing some work with an investment brokerage as well right now. So it's all completely different. Um, but I would say the clients that benefit from our service are people that want to take a really close look at their marketing and improve it, obviously, for the better, and are really, really interested in that, which not everybody is. Um, so yeah, that's the range of clients.
Okay. And how do you qualify a client in? How do you know if you're going to be able to deliver value for them?
Yeah, great question. So when a lead comes in, so like we had one like yesterday, for example, someone said that they're doing all these Christmas campaigns and they're not sure if what they're doing is going to hit their targets. Could we have a look? So normally what we would do is we'd have a call with the business. We'd ask them some questions about how things are being run, what their goals are. Then we'd go away and have a look at their accounts, see how those align with what their goals are. Number one challenge can be if the goal is just too unrealistic for where they're at. If their conversion rate's really, really low, for example, there's a lot of work they need to do on both the campaigns and the website. And then we'll talk to them about what they need to do to hit that. And then we'll take it on to kind of help them if we're having a sort of nice partnership vibe, realistic conversation. Do you know what I mean? So if the client gives you the feeling that it's going to be a partnership and they're really going to action what you suggest, really important. Obviously, if they're going to just challenge and disagree on everything, well, challenge is fine, but like not work on all the stuff you suggest, that's not a fulfilling contract. We won't take it on. And then a realistic plan, I think. So, if someone says, I need to sell all this stuff for Christmas, but I don't have a website yet, obviously we can't help. You know, there's a mountain to climb there.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, so I think that is the biggest issue if with being like I don't know how the issues stack up. I don't know what the actual fault is, but clients are difficult. You know, it used to frustrate the hell out of me that they would see me talk somewhere and get really excited, invite me into their business, and I would blow their minds with the opportunity. And they would engage us, and then we'd go back, and they don't want to do any of the things that I've proposed,
Yeah,
or that we
yeah,
propose.
yeah,
And it felt like you'd spend like 90% of your time trying to convince them to do the right thing. And then you'd spend about another
yeah,
50% of your time doing the thing. And you'd be back there for like another 50% of the time trying to justify what little you've managed to get done. That was the big frustration. So I think in terms of qualification,
yeah,
100% you need to know that they're on board, that they are genuinely interested in doing what is going to be useful if they're going to be successful.
yeah.
And then the second thing you said was, do you remember what the second thing you said was? It's completely gone out of my head already.
Well, it's a combination of like realistic expectations and
Yes.
trust, I would say. Having a
Yes.
partnership where you trust. So with all of our current clients, we've got a great relationship where, we'll give them a report on how things are going. They'll tell us a bit about how things are from their side, and then we'll have a conversation about what else we can do. And it's very open and transparent and easy, really, in that
Yes.
sense. Where it goes wrong is if the trust breaks down, and so many agencies have this, where this is why we built a business on auditing, really, because so many clients don't trust the campaigns that are running, and they don't know maybe the right questions to ask, or they don't believe the agency. So building that trust first of all is key.
100%. Because what's the thing about that? The thing about that is they're probably right not to trust them. If you're encountering um, campaigns every day that aren't effective or efficient, then they're right not to trust them. And there's a stat, I don't know if it's old, but they reckon the average lifespan of a digital marketing agency customer is 3 months. So it feels a little bit like that restaurant business where it's just got into the churn
Mm,
and everyone is like, okay, get in, get as much as you can for 3 months and then expect them to leave, because you can't deliver, well, you
mm,
probably can in ads, you can deliver some kind of value in 3 months,
mm.
but
Yeah, but it's hard to get enough track, like really, because it takes, first month you're really getting to know the business and the client, and looking at what is or isn't working. You make changes, but you're getting the most from your agency if you've got that relationship peaking at 3 months, I would say. So I don't want to say the longer the better with agency relationships, because once you get past the sort of 2 year mark, actually, it's quite easy for an agency to get really stagnant in their approach with a client if they're really comfortable, and they think, oh, I tried that once, it doesn't work, I'll leave it, won't try it again. Whereas a fresh pair of hands on the account can really make a difference. So I feel like there's some kind of sweet spot between 1 and 2 years working with an agency, where it's still new and exciting. There's lots and lots to learn and do, but they also do get to know you really well. Um, just working with an agency for a couple of months that's not sustainable, I wouldn't say.
no. But I suppose the good thing about your market is that it's people who are in the business of investing in marketing already. So it's not like they have to be
Yes.
convinced of the value of marketing. Like they are already spending money.
Yes.
They know that something should be coming back. They're just not happy with what is coming back. And the nice thing about that is you also know that more should be coming back. Okay, that's good. How do you decide then what is appropriate for a customer if they already decided they want to be doing PPC or they want to be doing TikTok or they want to be doing Facebook?
Yeah, so that's a conversation quite early on. So we'd ask what they're running already, we'd look at that, but then we might, if we took them on, we potentially would quite drastically change the channels. So, for example, we've been working with a supplement brand called Indie Supplements. They do essentially like really, really nice natural products that help you get a much more range of vitamins and minerals in your diet. So when we took them on, they were running on Google and TikTok. They wanted to run a bit on Facebook. And then what we started managing everything, and what we found that it was everything was spread really thinly between lots and lots of targeting and lots of products that they have. So nothing was working that well. So what we've done is we've actually talked to them about reducing the number of channels and the range of targeting and focusing more specifically on Google shopping right now. So we've pulled back on what they're doing in terms of breadth, but we've gone much more specific on shopping, and it's really showing better results already.
Okay, fantastic. Because maybe I've been out of the game for a while, but I think of these platforms. Well, I think for me, there's a very big difference between search, like PPC from Google, and social advertising. So, but then I understand that Facebook did get super targeted, and now that door's been closed by kind of Apple.
Mm.
So, where is the balance? What kind of value should you be expecting from each of these different platforms? What kind of outcome should you be expecting?
Yeah, it really depends on what you do or sell. So if anything B2B, for example, Google's going to be much more effective for you, definitely, because people search something, you give them the answer. But if you sell something that's more of um, an e-com, like a product that someone might not even know that they want because might not even know it exists, social's going to be amazing for that. So with this supplement brand, what they've done, spent a lot of time doing, is marketing the brand on TikTok, telling people about what it does and the benefits. And you don't get that opportunity so much in search in Google. So, the first probably year of their marketing was really focused on videos on TikTok explaining the benefits of their supplements and how they can help you. And that worked really, really well for them. The other thing to consider is that with social, price point is less of an issue. So if your product is not necessarily the cheapest, social is going to be more effective, because when people look at your ad, they're not shopping, they're not comparing. That you've got a chance to sell them the benefits without them comparing the price against others. Whereas on Google, especially Google Shopping, if you put in, I don't know, black hoodie, there's going to be like 50 hoodies that come up with all different prices. You're going to go for the cheaper one probably. So if your price point's not competitive, search is going to be hard.
Okay, cool. So I think of it in old like media sales like terms, like the difference between classified and display advertising. So if it's classified, somebody's going to
Mm,
have to be there going through the listings because they are looking for a particular product or service. Whereas display, actually, you get to
yes.
communicate your value proposition to somebody who at some point in the future might have a need for or desire for your particular
Yes.
products.
So I would say that is definitely still true. Google was always there for direct response. If someone's specifically searching for what you offer, if you can give it to them, conversion rate is going to be high, right? Whereas on
Yeah.
social, people are not there to buy, they're there to look at their friend's stupid cat video or something. But I do think in the last 12 to 18 months, that's changed quite a lot. And social media they are shopping platforms now, particularly TikTok. I've got friends that have consistently got items in their TikTok basket that they're waiting for payday to buy. So I do think it's changing a lot. And similarly on Facebook, you can buy directly within now. It's so easy. People are much more open to that than they ever were. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think. What do I think about that? I didn't know that TikTok had a basket. That's how much I know. Um,
Yeah. It's a
yeah.
recent thing. It's so interesting.
Now, is that because
I'll
people are
give you an example
searching?
with TikTok. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, you give me an example.
Yeah. So, like recently, I don't know. So, I don't know if you know how TikTok works. You go on there, you can tell it what you like, and it will serve you content around that. Or if you don't tell it, it will just serve you content it thinks you might like, and then based on what you watch or scroll past, it will then find more content that's relevant to you. So when I first started using TikTok, I got loads and loads of videos about cleaning and tidying. It was really tragic and boring. I don't know why. I guess woman 30s, they just thought, oh, that's what she'll like. So I had to kind of like teach the algorithm. I'm not interested in, how to efficiently clean the floor. um, so I started looking at lots of other things, basically, all different kinds of things. And recently, what I've been shown lots of, and I don't really know why this is people selling, doing live videos, well, not videos, but live right now in the moment marketplace videos selling wigs. So literally, I've seen loads of these videos now where there'll be a woman wearing a wig, and then behind her on the wall is like 10 to 15 different wigs on stands with a number. And she will try them on, live sell it to you, and people write in the comments what they like and what wig they want her to try on. And then you can buy said wig directly from that video there and then. And they'll say stuff like, right, for the next 10 minutes, it's 20% off, use this code. And it's incredible. They're making so much money. It's a whole new world.
It is a whole new world. But wasn't this happening at one time on Facebook where people were selling psychic readings,
Yeah,
or I want to say like crystals or whatever?
all sorts. Yeah, yeah, all kinds of stuff.
I
Yeah,
think you're right. They do make a lot of
it's
money.
crazy.
Yes. If somebody came to me and said, "Look, I'm going to start a business selling crystals," you would just imagine that there wasn't any market, but there are these people out there making all of this money, aren't they?
Yeah, and this is the beauty of performance marketing. You can access these people anywhere in the world pretty easily. Yes, it's very easy to waste money. You need to be careful, obviously, but it does enable this whole world of e-commerce that is just, I would say, unprecedented. Like, to think that, like, yesterday I was watching a video, probably, I don't know where it was shot, maybe in China, probably, but I was watching a live. I could have bought that wig there and then and had it sent to me. And I've seen it be tested out. It's a bit like, like the shopping channel on telly,
Yes.
but it's live and in the moment, and you can feed back. So I could have commented, "Oh, wig number 13, I really like the look of that one. Can you try it on? Can you tell me more about this?" You can ask questions there and then, which is amazing.
Yeah. Do people not have different size heads?
I don't know. I don't actually know much about wigs or have one, by the way. It's just been served to me. I don't know why.
Okay, good. So then these people, your friends who are filling up their TikTok shopping cart, are these
Yeah.
things that they've searched for, or these are just
No,
things that have been served up?
things that have been served up. So, you might watch 3 or 4 videos and then you'll have an ad. It's quite hard to tell it's an ad, apart from it will say hashtag ad. But
Right.
people that are doing well on TikTok are giving you ads that don't look like ads. That's the main thing I would say. So they look like user generated content that is specifically built for TikTok. And you're just scrolling through videos, and if something catches your eye and it's someone selling, it's massive for beauty and fashion, um, then you can just buy it there and then. It's amazing.
So there's a buy now button or something on the screen, or you have to interact with them, or there's a buy
Yeah.
now button.
No, so you can just, yeah, on the button, you can just push buttons. Yeah, 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 exactly. And if you've saved your card details to TikTok, a couple of clicks, you've done it. Same with Facebook and Instagram.
Yes. Apart from Facebook and Instagram, seems to be going away.
Why do you say that?
Well, because Apple have told them that they don't want them to be productizing their customers anymore, and they've given all of their users the option not to use these tracking. I mean, this is what I'm hearing. I'm not testing
Mm,
it, but this is what I'm hearing. That basically Apple are now looking after their customers much better. So all of the iPhone users, and I saw a stat recently. It was something like 70. And originally, it was like 20% of people opted out of Facebook collecting their data, and now it's gone up to something like 70+%. So people are
Mm.
being given the opportunity not to be tracked, and they're taking the opportunity.
So, yeah, let's unpack that a little bit more. So, what you're talking about is the iOS 14 update. I cannot actually remember when it happened because it was during COVID and everything's a blur.
It
But
was
it
about a
happened in the
year ago,
last
I
few
think.
years. Yeah, okay, yeah. So basically, Apple have done that not specifically to Facebook. So what they've done is they've made the setting on your phone that any app that would track you outside of the app, so what I mean is when you stop using the app and your phone and go somewhere else, the internet or your email, Apple basically asks users, do you want this app to track you outside of the app usage or not? And as you said, a lot of people said no. This has really affected Facebook because Facebook used a lot of data on people that when they're not in the app, right, across their
Yeah.
phone. You think about your phone, it's got an incredible amount of information on here, you know, about you. It's ridiculous. So because people then declined to have that information tracked outside the app, Facebook has to rely more on its in-app data, of which there's an abundance. There's still loads. But it means that if you say I go on Facebook and I get served an ad, I can talk about one of our clients. We work with an online florist called Flying Flowers. They're part of the Interflora group. And basically, say I go on Facebook and I get served an ad for a nice bouquet they've just launched. I look at that ad, but I don't do anything. I carry on scrolling. And then later I go on Google and I do a search, Flying Flowers, and I go on their website and buy. Facebook can't track that connection because it's cut off from the app. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, whereas before they were. So that is really damaging because, of course, Facebook started that path to sale, didn't they? Because Facebook showed me that ad and that made me think, I'll go and get that later. But that whole journey is now broken because of the tracking being switched off, essentially. So, Apple's very clever. They did it to enhance their own data that they have, which I'm sure they're doing amazing things with. I don't know if they did it. I mean, maybe they did. It's not specific to Facebook. It affected TikTok, for example, as well. But it really hurt Facebook because their advertising relied so much on that journey outside the app. And it makes it
Yes.
really difficult for people like us in marketing because clients will say to me, well, should I be spending this budget on Facebook? It doesn't really wash its face as well as, say, Google, but you have to take that into consideration. So, if it's say it's saying a ROAS of like zero point 0.5 in platform in Facebook, actually that could be quite a bit higher if you were to be able to fully attribute properly across. But there's no way of doing that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah. So we're talking about attribution, but are they not still able, Facebook, to, they called it the pixel, didn't they? They're not still able to put the pixel, the cookie, whatever,
Yeah.
on your browser so that when you turn up on the website, it recognizes. Does that still happen?
That still happens, yes. It's just the app to app bit that's broken. So they can still track sales. The pixel's really important, tracking as much as possible, still really important. They just lose, I think it's on average 50% of that data is lost because of the way the tracking is now not working.
Right. Okay.
It's really
The,
difficult. It's
yeah.
like we've gone backwards. We went a lot further than ever thought, and now we've gone backwards a little bit to, you said earlier, I know 50% of my advertising budget is wasted, but I don't know which.
Yes. So we can't be back to that, are we? No.
We're not back to that, but I do think that, I mean, Facebook's released its own predicted impact modeling where it basically will give you a figure that it believes, and it's pushed this onto everyone. You don't opt in or out, you've just got it. it gives you the opportunity to see what it could be, but it's really difficult. It'll be over inflating its performance
Of
to
course, yeah.
reality.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that also affects, but Google are a little bit immune because if you haven't
yeah,
got the
because they're not an
browser
app.
open, you've probably got Maps open, or you've got Gmail open, or you've got something open all the time.
Yeah,
So that is less affected.
yeah,
I do think Mark Zuckerberg upset Apple. I think that's why, not the whole reason, but part of the reason. I do think Apple will come through with some
yeah,
kind of performance marketing platform of their own. That will be really exciting.
yeah. It'd be good.
It'd be good for you.
Who knows?
Um,
Facebook, I think, is in for. Well, yeah. I think Facebook is in for a rough ride. They already are, but they've saturated their ad platform. They're struggling with the data. Performance is not as good as it used to be for a lot of clients. So I think Facebook need to work very hard to keep up.
yeah, and I think more than that, he's taken his eye off the ball. He's decided that he wants to be the metaverse, and they're not investing in their bread and butter. That's what I
Yeah,
think. That's what I see happening. So yeah,
I
so that's
agree.
interesting. So B2B, Google PPC. What kind of businesses do better on TikTok or Facebook or those other, or what sort of businesses that you're working with are having more success in those places?
Yeah. So, I mean, TikTok, I would say any business where you've got to get creative with it and you've got to really invest in it. And this is where clients struggle. I see a lot of ads where it's like a really crappy video and then it's automatically I don't know if you've seen these, automatically translated by a robot and they're just dreadful. And you just everyone's skipping them, definitely. So there's a tip of what not to do, I guess. Types of clients that are doing well from it are clients that invest in content that it's called user generated content, but it's an ad that looks like it's been made by a user specifically for TikTok. That is so important. So, you know, like I said about that supplement brand, working with them on content where someone is explaining the benefits and they're a user, so they're using the product and they're using TikTok. They're not just here to, I mean, they are there to sell you, but it doesn't feel like they're selling to you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. They're there to, I think the thing with TikTok, right, is to remember is that people are there to enjoy funny videos, to be surprised, delighted. They're not there to be sold to. So if you put any content out there that makes them feel like it's a hard sell, it's a no. But if you can put content out there that really shows them the benefits, maybe makes them laugh, actually they probably will buy from you. So like I've been watching this trend by, well, it's not by, so there's a song by Megan Trainor, um, and it's a song called I Made You Look, basically. And two girls took that song and they made their own TikTok video of a dance of it. And obviously that is where TikTok originated. It was all about doing funny dances, wasn't it? So they made a dance from it. It went viral and loads of people have made their own version of this dance to the song, including Megan Trainor, who saw it and loved it and has also made her own version now with their dance. Amazing. And what I've seen is advertisers pick up on that and make their own one. So, for example, have you ever heard of an Oodie?
No. Sorry.
No, that's okay. So basically, an Ood. No, it's fine. So basically, an Oodie is like a massive, massive hoodie, like a hoodie sleeping bag kind of thing. It's a bit weird,
Okay.
but it's big. It's big in the winter. So this woman is selling Oodies that she makes. So what she did is she made a video wearing an Oodie, doing the dance to that song to make people laugh because it's on trend at the moment. And then of course at the bottom there's a get your Oodie here, buy now. And we don't work with this client, but I'm sure she's doing well from it. I thought it was really good.
Yes, yes. So this feels to me like it's all got much more social again. that it's actually about
Yeah.
virality again, and it's actually about trends again. Because if I look at Facebook,
Yeah.
for example, or Instagram, where it went wrong for them is where they decided better than you that they know what you want to look at. So when they brought out the algorithm, there was a
Yeah.
time where I would sit down and scroll through Facebook until I started reading stuff I'd read again. And that
Yeah.
might take me 40 minutes. Now, I won't look at it for 3 weeks and
Yeah.
I'll read something that I've read again already. Do you know what I mean? So it seems to me that that's what
Yeah.
TikTok
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
done.
It's not as
And
good.
this is the thing about Facebook is that they could just go back to that in a second, but they won't because because he wants to be the metaverse or whatever it is. But Facebook was an unbelievable model because they had at one point 2 billion contributors who weren't paying a penny to, who were writing about the things that we were all interested in, which is us.
Yeah.
It's insane that they lost that,
Yeah.
but it feels to me like TikTok has got back. So the question then is, if the ads don't look very different from the content,
Mm.
the user generated content, then why invest in ads? Why not just be producing the content?
Well, I wouldn't see them as two different things. Not necessarily. That's a really good point. So, start with the content that you want for your brand, and then make sure that some of that content ends with it's focused on selling, but not in a salesy way. And then we can use that as an ad. So
Right,
you got to flip it round. If you think people made ads for TV, now it's got to be make content for TikTok and then use it as an ad.
right. So you can
Yeah.
actually effectively test it before you even start spending on advertising.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. And I would do that. I would start with the content. And that's where people go wrong. You've got a lot of big businesses that are thinking, shit, I keep hearing about TikTok. I should probably get on there. Can we just do some ads? That's not going to work. You need to build a profile on TikTok, start building content, and then start doing some ads and build it that way.
Yes. Because because okay, so the next question then is, who can you reach on TikTok? Because we're just about to start clipping up these and all of our content, and we'll make anything that's like snappy enough available on TikTok. Are
Mm.
there, and I do get a sense that there are, because I reviewed some TikTok content, are there people interested in marketing there? Are there people interested in metal there? Are there people interested in, I don't know, baby clothes? Who's there? That's what's interesting
Yeah,
to know.
yeah. Traditionally, traditionally it's always been younger generation. It started as a platform where people put funny videos of them making a dance, right? But it's so much more mainstream now. I mean, like for example, this supplements brand that we're working with, their product is aimed at age 35 plus women, which you wouldn't necessarily think are on TikTok, but actually it does really well on there. So I would say the demographic data is skewed, it's heavier on the younger generation, but the older generation are actually there and a mix of demographics. So I think that any business could gain some traction on there if they invest in the right content and getting creative with it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Do you think my marketing chats are creative enough?
I think you might be lacking in music. That's the problem.
Okay. Well, there's plenty
Might
of
have to do
sounds
a dance at
available.
the end.
Maybe. Okay, so the other benefit
Yeah.
then of advertising has always been that the targeting. So if you do it in a content fashion, if you do it in an organic fashion, you've got no idea who's coming. If you're targeting, if you're running ads, then you get to target who you want to see it. So what does the targeting look like on TikTok?
Yes.
How does it compare with something like Facebook or other platforms?
So it is a bit more basic than Facebook so far, but you can still do demographic, age, location. You can either so you can do all of that, and then you can layer over hashtags. So targeting specific hashtags or specific interests, like, I don't know, someone interested in football, for example, or World Cup specifically, stuff like that. Um, so I say it's not as advanced as Facebook just because Facebook's got some incredibly detailed audiences that you can tap into. And they're just TikTok's just not quite there yet, but it does have a lot you can do. And then you can also do obviously your retargeting and then your lookalike audiences as well, which is where I would start usually.
Okay, good. Excellent. So it's like it was Black Friday. We're going to do the news tomorrow. So every 2 weeks we do the news with Melanie Farmer in Australia, talk about the marketing news. Feels to me like we have to talk about Black Friday. I don't really like Black Friday.
Yes.
Because I don't think it being
Me neither.
I don't think Black Friday is a good enough reason to buy something. I'd much prefer that people were buying products from me because they saw the value in them or they wanted them. Do you know what I mean? Not because it's whatever Friday, the last Friday in November. Is that what it is? So I don't particularly like it. How does this tie in with what we're saying?
I would say Black Friday. No, it's fine. I would say Black Friday. It's not a day anymore. It's Black Friday week or even month. It's ridiculous, and customers are saturated with it. We've got a few clients that have really, planned all year for Black Friday and pinned a lot of hopes on shifting a lot of stock on that one day, and I think that is risky. People do wait for deals, so we definitely saw a slowing down in conversion rates in the weeks running up to it, and then an increased conversion rate last week. And that's quite annoying because obviously, if you're shopping for something, if I'm shopping for something 2 weeks ago, I'm not going to buy it until Black Friday because most things were reduced or at least look like they were reduced, so you feel like you're getting a deal. But that's not great for the industry at all. We can't change it or stop it now. It's the way it is. But I don't like Black Friday either. That's what I would say.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think that is exactly the issue. If you're a business and you're pinning your hopes on something amazing happening on this one day of the year, that's the real danger. And if you were rather investing all your energy in coming up with products and services that people actually took value from, I think that would be a much better idea. Because now, don't they do these single-digit days or something? So it's the first, the second of the second. So there's one of these kind of happening every month, maybe on less of a scale.
There's all kind. Yeah, it's just constant, isn't it? No, it's constant, and I think it's really easy for clients to think, "I'll just put a sale on and I'll get more." But that is not a long-term sustainable way, is it? You've got to
No.
focus on your brand proposition and your product and what actually is going to help customers longer term.
Yeah.
So I'm not a massive fan of sales and discounts.
No, I really hate it. I spend all my life trying to convince people to put their prices up. All my life, because why wouldn't you just do that? You should be the Rolls Royce in your industry. I think that's much better. Okay, good. Do you have a particular instance maybe of something where you've been able to, because you talk about revolutionizing performance. That's the other thing that gets me. Somebody said to me once, I just start talking about a revolution and Martin will be there. I really do like a revolution. So do you have a particular instance where you've revolutionized the performance of?
I think the best example we've got to date, with quite a young business, don't forget, is last year we did a project with an insurance comparison website. And this business was spending a lot of money on Google. Google's very expensive for insurance. The cost per clicks are like 20 to 30 pounds. And they had a team in place. The board didn't know what questions to ask the team. They didn't know if they were the right team for what they needed. They had a lot of data they could use, but they weren't using it in the right way. And their conversion rate was in decline year on year. So performance was going down. really harming the business. So they brought us in to revolutionise performance. And the first thing we did was we did an audit of everything they were doing. So we reviewed all their campaigns in detail, what they were doing, and we also looked at the teams and what was their skill set and how are they using their time, and was that right for the client. Long story short, none of it was set up optimally, obviously. And so we took over and we actually managed it for them over an 8-week period. And we did a lot of training with their team to give them the skills to really work properly with Google. We then did a project to help them integrate their data into Google and basically bid to a longer term return on ad spend rather than a short term CPA. And that did revolutionize. I can't remember the numbers now, but that is a case study on our website. That did revolutionize performance, like so much so that they were getting much higher quality leads. Their call centers were like full and basically busy all the time because they were getting more higher quality leads. They could spend longer on the phone with them. So they actually opened another call center to cope with it. So yeah, I would say we revolutionized it for them. Yeah.
Fantastic. And the thing is, I think because of the way the market has been set up and people's attitudes to marketing and agencies' attitudes to their clients, and like the whole situation we've got into, is it's not difficult to see how it can happen. Like everything you say, you have to understand exactly everything that's gone on and then put in the hard yards to make sure that you're wringing every bit of value out of every penny you spend. That's what I think. Okay, cool. Yeah. That brings us then to question number 3, which we are going to put on TikTok, whether you think it's a good idea or otherwise. So it needs to be really brief and snappy. And if you could be dancing as well, that would be really useful. What's your recommendation for anyone who is... What's your recommendation for anyone who is looking to either get better at performance marketing or maybe they're looking to start out with performance marketing?
Just be really curious and always looking under the hood at what's going on. Don't leave any stone unturned. That's what I would say.
100%. That might be snappy enough. Now, there's still 15 seconds for a dance. No dance.
I can't. It's Monday morning.
Okay. All right. Absolutely no problem. Okay, then. Question number 4. What should people read or what content should people be consuming if they want to be doing better with their marketing in general, their performance marketing specifically?
I would say LinkedIn is, my main source of industry updates and movements is actually LinkedIn. So finding people that post updates on whatever platform you're using is 9 times out of 10 going to be the quickest and best way to learn about how it's working and what's new and what else you could be doing. So, I invest a lot of time in LinkedIn and I learn a lot on there about particularly Google. There's so many people posting about things they've tested that you can then take and implement. So I would say LinkedIn, which is not, it's not your traditional book.
No, but on that subject, we've just spoken for an hour and 10 minutes about performance marketing, and this is the first time LinkedIn has come up. Has LinkedIn not got a role to play in performance marketing?
Well, it does, and we do run ads on there. The problem with LinkedIn, it's just quite expensive. You said earlier about platforms fleecing people. I would say LinkedIn is quite expensive for the engagement you get. And
100%.
That's a platform that needs to do more work on its advertiser offering, definitely, because they've got so much rich data, but it's not that easy to get it out. It's not my go-to platform for paid.
Okay. I tried to market my LinkedIn course on LinkedIn, and they charged me £17 a click for something like 17 clicks. And when I looked at the analytics, only 3 of those people had made it to the website, and they'd all left inside half a second. So, yeah.
This
also,
is what I
don't
mean.
rate LinkedIn.
It's a shame. Okay. LinkedIn for posting and organic stuff, amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, but not ads.
And I think especially if you are being interesting and useful, I think LinkedIn is amazing. All these people with their gentle brags about the charity work they do at the weekend, I don't think they're doing so well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right. So that brings us to the last question. There's a tropical storm just kicked off here, so I'm not hearing you great. I don't think the universe has been with us today. Um, but what I'm interested to know is, how have you found your experience of being on the Talk Marketing show?
I've loved it. Yeah, it's been really good.
Excellent.
Really interesting. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground.
I feel like we have as well, yes. I'm dreading the day that someone says, "This has been awful, Martin. Don't ever darken my door again." That could happen. Okay, good. So the reason I'm checking in is just to find out, because now the expectation is that you throw a couple of people under the bus. So who do you know is the question. Do you think who might endure, or maybe even enjoy to have a conversation like this with me?
Yeah, definitely. So the first person is a guy called David Mannheim, and he's firstly a friend of the business, friend of mine, and he is an online personalization expert. So he built a business in UX and CRO, sold it in 2020, I think, or 2021, and he's now a book on online personalization, and he's just fascinating. I think you'd have a great conversation with him.
Fantastic. I think I've heard that name before, but I don't think I've met. What was his book
Mm.
called? Do you remember? That you didn't recommend a minute ago.
Oh, I can't remember. That's dreadful, isn't it? It's not out yet. He's nearly finished it, and I can't
Oh,
remember what it's
okay.
called. Going to be
All
called.
right. Excellent. Okay,
Yeah, it's
cool.
coming out soon. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Excellent. Is there somebody else?
I would also recommend a guy called Kevin Joyner. So I used to work with Kevin at Crowd. And he's an expert in data, again, in the online world. Fascinating guy. You'd have.
Okay. Fantastic. Excellent. Now it seems like the, the delay is enormous. I hope maybe an internet
Brilliant.
line's just been blown down somewhere between me and you. Okay, cool. So are you able to make like a LinkedIn type introduction to these people? Could you do something like that? I'm sure Abigail would have done something like that for us. That would be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, happy to.
Excellent. So the good news is then, are you ready for some good news?
Absolutely.
We got to the end. All the
Good.
trials, tribulations, they're all behind us. So what we'll do
Thank
is
you.
we'll say goodbye for the benefit of anyone who's still watching, and then I'll stop recording and we can say goodbye like normal human beings.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. It's interesting because there are so many people playing the game like the platform's way, and so people don't let me go on in the way I do with my issues about these platforms should behave better. But it's really refreshing to find someone who actually not. I don't even want to condescend you at all, because that's really not the intention. But somebody who is doing the dance with them. Do you know what I mean? And really understands and appreciates what has to happen if you're going to get value from it. So I think that has been really useful.
Yeah.
I'm sure people will take value from it. Of course, the number one recommendation is if they want to get better with their performance marketing, they should reach out to the House of Performance. And I'm sure you guys, is that a House of Pain reference?
No,
It's not a House of
it's
Pain
not
reference.
actually.
Okay. In future, you could just say it is. That would be good.
No.
But I have had a thoroughly wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Really enjoyed it.